You really think this guy's gonna be hurting over $100? No, but it's embarrassing and it's annoying. And if you feel like people are trying to nickel and dime you, just gonna leave. That guy's got resources. If you wanna have a booming poker economy, do not do this one thing. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Do you remember the creator stream?
Yeah, it's just
You down a show?
I have ace-9, yeah.
Oh my God, what'd you do? You fold.
Excellent.
I didn't.
Oh, wait,
no.
I thought you folded.
no.
Did you not fold?
In that situation between Phil Hellmuth, the pro, and the creator Slime, they settled it off screen. This is not one of those stories, but it does have a happy ending, so stick around, my friend. Let me set the stage for you. I'm coming back from the bathroom. I did wash my hands, for those of you wondering. The table is waiting on an action. It looks like two players are in a hand. The dealer's not sure what to do. I sit down, looks like a little bit of confusion. I can see one of the players has their hand face up, one of them does not. What I piece together while they're waiting for the floor to make this ruling is one of the players who's like a VIP makes a bet with the $25 chips, which are green. The other player goes for a raise with green chips. The issue at hand is C2, who makes the initial bet with green chips, sees his villain put green chips into the pot and thinks it's a call. He doesn't see how many chips go in, he just sees chips going forward and assumes it's a call. Why would he assume it's a call? He assumes it's a call because he has the ace of spades and it's a 4 flush run out. He's got the nut flush. So he thinks his bet got called and he tables his hand. Now C2's contention is he raised, that wasn't a call. Why did you turn your hand over? Is it a fold? C2 says, no, of course it's not a fold. I've got the nut flush. Why would I fold? I thought you were calling. I didn't even think you would raise because there's 4 spades out there and I've got the ace of spades. So they're still waiting for the floor to get there. And it's one of these situations where, C2's like, hey, if you just want to call the bet and we'll move on, we don't have to make the raise stand. We'll just make it my bet, you call, and we move on to the next hand. Which seems, reasonable. I didn't see the whole action, but that seems reasonable. Sometimes you make that agreement amongst players just to keep the game moving. Everybody can see he's got the nut flush, unless this other guy has a, straight flush, which we don't know. So the floor gets there, and it's apparent the dealer doesn't want to get too involved. He somewhat recreates the action, but isn't really being specific. And unfortunately, it's also apparent that whoever's making this decision, if you play enough live poker, sometimes the floor people don't want to really get involved or don't actually play poker. It says, okay, well, you tabled the hand in a way that crosses the betting line. We have a betting line. Your hand is dead. Now, I've been playing poker for the majority or all of my income for about 10 years now. If I had seen the whole hand play out, I would have spoke up. Unfortunately, I'm coming back to my seat after the hand and the action has been played out. So I don't really feel comfortable piping up in a situation that I wasn't actually seeing, right? But I'm piecing this together, right? C2 makes a bet, the other guy goes to raise, the first guy who makes a bet thinks it's a call, immediately tables his hand because he's got the nut flush, and he's in seat 2 where the betting line is very shallow. So when he tables his hand, it goes across the line. Now the floor says, well, your hand went across the line and it went face up, but there was action in front. And since the action was a raise and you went face up across the line, it's gonna be ruled a fold. The player who raised has a very important decision. Does he let the ruling stand and let this guy forfeit his hand, knowing that, if he doesn't have a straight flush, he's losing? He's gonna, he's basically just kind of gaming the system on this. So that's what happens. The player with the nut flush loses the hand. The other guy doesn't table his hand to say, hey, I made a straight flush. This is why I was raising and didn't want to do it, right? If that was the case, okay, all right, cool, we get it. But he never tables his hand, so the rest of the table is just left assuming, hey, this guy's just kind of taking advantage of a silly rule that might not even be a real rule. It's just nobody wanted to speak up too much, myself included. Now, the guy C2 makes his bet is gonna inadvertently lose a hand that he probably would have won. So let's discuss why this could have been handled so much better if we want to have a booming poker economy. So seat 2 is actually the VIP in the game. He's the spot. He's the type of guy to sit down with a bright shirt, a big rack of chips, and immediately ask for cocktails and get a drink. It's exactly what he did. I actually asked him if he got the shirt that he was wearing at the Miami Grand Prix, the Formula One race.
He is up a place. It's Perez with the lead. Signs on the charge.
It was a serious question. It was a black shirt with nice, like, bright pink colors with palm trees, right? It was a cool looking shirt. I genuinely, thought that could be where he got it because it was the same type of pink that the Formula One Grand Prix was at. This guy looked like he had money. It's expensive to go to Formula One events. You've got a guy who's clearly here to spend the next couple hours, spend some money, have some fun, a couple drinks, maybe make a hand or two, right? We're talking about $100 discrepancy here. There's this idea of win money, not pots. And the idea is, usually you frame it when somebody's dealing with like fancy play syndrome, where they're just trying to win the pot and they don't really care about protecting their stack. They just want to, end the hand there or do something fancy that might go over their opponent's head. You're talking about winning money in the long run, not this immediate pot, right? Don't be penny wise and pound foolish. People remember how you make them feel. So when somebody who clearly has wealth comes into your game to play poker, you want to make them feel welcome. And you don't have to do this in a slimy way where you're pandering to them and anything like that. But if a situation comes up where they can save face by you being a little bit lenient on rules or guidelines, it goes a long way. It may not pay off that day, but those people remember how you make them feel. So if it's between taking a seat at your game or another open seat, or taking a seat in the poker room, or going to baccarat, or sports betting, or something else. Now we're in the state of Florida, you play craps, you play roulette, you got a lot of choices. They're gonna do that if they don't enjoy themselves. They work hard. They make good decisions outside of the poker room. Those decisions don't just stop because they're not good at poker. They're just gonna leave if they're not having fun, if they get bored, if somebody's being rude, if they don't like the atmosphere. This is a guy who is talking about the horse he bought his daughter. You really think this guy's gonna be hurting over $100? No, but it's embarrassing and it's annoying. And if you feel like people are trying to nickel and dime you, you're just gonna leave. That guy's got resources. He's got other options. So case in point, he does leave, right? Long story short, the guy leaves and everybody's annoyed. But before he leaves, I look down at a playable hand, I raise, so he's got the rack, he takes some of the chips out and goes, let's just juice it up. I don't have a good hand. And he says it just like that. I believe him. So I call, take a flop in position. Flop goes check, check. The hand's not too important, what I have and what he has. Turn goes bet 60 into about 110. I call. River goes check, check. I win with ace high. Okay? He says, good hand, and he leaves. So the discrepancy that the floor had got called over was over $100. The guy meant to raise to 150 instead of calling 50. So we're talking about $100. I earned that $100 just by not being a dick. You just gotta play. Like, guys like these are willing to put the money in as long as you're not a douche. Where's the happy ending? I promised one at the end, right? Well, I did get to stack the guy who ran off the VIP. Did the guy rebuy after I stacked him? Nope. Maybe that influenced him to try and get that extra $100 over the ruling. Maybe he only had one buy-in and he wanted to run it up by hook or by crook. Or was he just over it and he didn't want to sit with us afterwards?
He can't sit with us!
What do you think? Would you have taken the money because rules are rules? Or would you have taken the L and waited for a better spot? And if you want a good example of how to behave at the poker table, check out this video on Dan Jungleman Cates that I published. He's a fantastic example of how to have fun in poker, but still be wildly competitive. See you in the next one.